clear in the sky. Many raindrops have come to my eye on a wonderful day like today. On a wonderful morning like this, when the sun is as big as a yellow balloon, even the sparrows are singing in tune. On a wonderful morning like this, on a morning like this, I can kiss everybody. It's so full of love and goodwill. Let me say forevermore, I adore everybody. So come and dine and wonderful, and I will play the fiddle. May I take this occasion to say that the whole human race should go down on its knees, jumping right off the holy time beats for the world in a wonderful way, on a wonderful day like today.
Puts a smile on your face, doesn't it? This is Unity Williamsburg Spiritual Center, and we are absolutely thrilled with the idea that we're going to start things new. You have within you a seed. God created that seed in image and likeness, which means it's got all the attributes that God has. Do you know how wonderful you are? You really are. Please wake up every single morning this year with a smile on your face, because it's so important to recognize what you really are. Well, let's sing a song and get on with the day. What are we singing?
We are going to start with "And So Are We" by Donna Drozda. The words tend to come up and up.
Well, just got this.
Whoever we think we are, wherever we think we're headed, whatever we're going through, there's a truth behind it all, about the stuff we're really made of, and the greatest truth of all is that in His image, God has made us. And if that's true, just think about what it says for me and you. God is light, and so are we. God is love, and so are we. God is life, and so are we. It's true that cannot be denied. God is power, and so are we. God is peace, and so are we. God is beauty and joy, and so are we. That's the truth of our sin, and the truth of all mankind. Light cuts through the darkness of the night. Love unites us all as one. Life is a gift we share, and we share it every day. Peace is our heartfelt prayer. Joy is found most everywhere. Power is the knowledge that our precious dreams will always find their way. And He is in everyone who loves, every living thing, every passing moment. God is light, and so are we. God is love, and so are we. God is light, and so are we. His truth that cannot be denied. God is love, and so are we. God is peace, and so are we. God is unity and joy, and so are we. That's the truth of sin and the truth of man.
Thank you. Well, now you know how I feel when I can't see. What do we do? I mean, how easy is God is love, and so are we. I mean, that's marvelous. Thank you. Is there anybody new in the congregation today? I can't see, so if you'd like to say hello. Otherwise, tell us who you are in the back and the fellas.
My name is Larry Bly. I'm from Franklin, Virginia.
Very good. Okay. We always talk about the God in us. Do you really understand that? I want everybody to really know this.
Sorry, so you didn't interrupt. Just handing out hymnals. I'm just handing out some hymnals.
Oh, is that what that is? I can't read those either. Okay, doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. I tell you, there's something about the life that we have within us that joins with everybody else and makes a community, whether you can see or you can't hear or you can't walk. You know, it doesn't matter. There is a connection that we all have. So let's honor that connection. The God in me greets God in you. Let's stand up and then we'll sing another song. Will we have words? Okay, anyway, God in me loves God.
So if you would turn to 183, and we're going to have the old story again. I am the radiant light of God, and all three verses. I am the radiant light of God, I am. I am the radiant light of God, I am. The light of God, the strength of God, my God, the energy of God. I'm the radiant light of God, I am. I am the wonderful love of God, I am. I am the wonderful love of God, I am. The peace of God, the joy of God, serenity for any miracle of God. I am the wonderful love of God, I am. I am the position power of God, I am. I am the position power of God, I am. The light of God, success of God, purity, happiness, life of God. I am the position power of God, I am.
Very good.
Good morning, everybody. So I will read the affirmation, and you all can listen in and take it into your hearts. So, Unity Williamsburg Spiritual Center is a radiant center of divine life, light, and love. We are a thriving, prosperous, spiritual community that honors the divine presence in all and celebrates our oneness through loving service in our community. And together, let's say the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven.
day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, power, and glory forever.
And now we'll say we, and I think everybody knows we.
Well, that's helpful, yes. If you use a hymnal, it's slightly different. We do slightly different versions. So we do the chorus, then we do the first verse, then we do the chorus again, then we do the second verse, and then we end with the chorus. So we're not doing the third verse at all. Okay. All right, anybody got it? Oh, I'm sorry, 212. We lost together, we lost together in unity of love. We lost together, we lost together in love. We are adventures, we are lovers, each one different from the other. But we are one in one great fantasy. We lost together, we lost together in unity and love. We lost together, we lost together in love. Instruments play melodies, each one tuning to a melody. But we are playing harmony in one great symphony. We lost together, we lost together in unity and love. We lost together, we lost together in love.
Now is our time for prayers and celebrations. If you have someone you'd like a prayer for, a situation or a celebration, take a moment to hold them in your heart at this time. And let us say, as we center ourselves in the one presence and one power, we realize that our thoughts have the power to heal and bless. We send them out now, carrying love, peace, joy, and life to situations and celebrations that will hold in our hearts. Thought by thought and prayer by prayer, we transform the world.
Well, good morning again, and Merry Christmas, and I trust that all of you had a wonderful Christmas day and a wonderful meal. And speaking of Christmas meals, I would like to thank very much everybody who participated in last Sunday's meal that we had in the back. It was absolutely wonderful. It was a delicious meal, tons of food, good camaraderie, and I'd like to especially thank whoever brought the pumpkin pie. I had a number of pieces of the ball, John. That's my one weakness. I wish. So anyhow, this is our last Sunday of 2024 and have a service. I mean, it's kind of hard to believe. It sounds like we just started not too long ago this year. But here we are. And of course, in just a few days, we will be celebrating the new year of 2025. So here's some thoughts for everybody to carry forward as we go into the new year. And now we welcome the new year, full of things that has never been before. whole year of new things we have. Approach the new year with resolve to find opportunities hidden in every single new day. You are never too old to set another goal or to dream a new dream. And to finish up with something that's right out of the Unity Fellowship Songbook, Unity Williamsburg Songbook, packaged inside of every mistake lies a greater lesson. And while I do not want to take the mistake into the new year, I most certainly want to take the lesson that I've learned with me. How's that for a great thought? And so today's daily word in the affirmation, I'll say it first, you say it with me. In prayer, I know the truth about others. Together.
In prayer,
I know the truth about others. I feel honored when someone asks me for my support in prayer. My heart and my mind join with theirs as I hold thoughts that affirm the truth of them, their divinity. I pray they know that they are created in the image of God, that the qualities of life, love, and wisdom are part of their spiritual inheritance. As I pray, I see their divine qualities expressing. I envision divine life flowing through them and divine love comforting them and harmonizing their relationships. I seek them whole and well, loved and loving, and prosperous and secure. As I pray, I focus on the spiritual truth and trust that the divine presence is the answer to every prayer. That's it. Divine presence is the answer to every prayer. And from the book of Corinthians, what should I do then? I will pray with spirit, but I will pray with the mind also. I will sing praise with the spirit, but I will sing praise with the mind also. So that's our last one for the year. So it's my pleasure today to introduce our speaker, and I have to say that she's my all-time favorite ever being a speaker. She has talked to, been here to our Williamsburg church, to our Unity church for 20 years now. She's been coming. And back even before we had this building and we were down at Newport News, she would come and speak to us. So she's a long time gifted speaker for us. She's a Buddhist, and often in her talks, she points out how Buddhism and unity are very, very similar. Very similar. So I know you're going to enjoy this, and it's a great way to finish up 2024 with a dynamic speaker like Donna Drozda.
I have to figure out how to turn on this new mic.
Do you need that?
Am I on? Yes? Okay. I have no light. No, You're closer to the light than when you're in the dark. I'd like to say how thrilled I am that Amy invited me to come up and be the speaker for this last Sunday of the year. As Bob said, I've been coming to Unity since Reverend Jan first invited me, then back in the late 90s, and I have been really honored, excited, and thrilled to be able to weave the idea that Unity and Buddhism share a lot of common ground. And in doing that, I learned more about Unity, which was with me before I found Buddhism to the degree that I have now. I was in Buddhist school, as I like to call it, for 12 years. And I've spent time in Tibet. And I have a real love for the people of Tibet. If we learn anything about them, we learn that for many, many decades, I guess for all time, up until the mid-50s, there was a peaceful place on the planet. Much like Bhutan holds that energy now. Bhutan measures things like gross national happiness. And what a concept to think about where we find our joy and what brings us a sense of aliveness. And my talk today is a question. And the question is really a curiosity. So there is in no way that the title of my talk for today implies any kind of judgment or any indication that things should be different than they actually are at this moment in time. The title of my talk is, Are You Content with Your Content? And I love playing with words, and I love that those two words are spelled exactly the same, which means they carry exactly the same energy in the world. Content and content. Are you content with your content? It's such a great curiosity. And I find that curiosity is one of the most dynamic ways in which we can look at the world right now. Probably always have been true. But in the world that we're in right now, particularly in our culture right now, where things appear to be so this way or that way, and we're trying to find where we can balance and connect. The idea of asking ourselves each day, am I content with my content, is a way to just kind of start that conversation with ourselves, so that we're not projecting our own unfinished business onto anyone else, particularly family members and friends and neighbors, but that we're owning our own business, we're owning our own issues. And so in Buddhism, there's so many quirky, wonderful ways in which they help us just consider, again, how we're moving through the world. And one of the ways that they help us learn is they tell really bizarre stories. They're really graphic, and they're very unsettling and uncomfortable. And they do that because they want us to think beyond our own comfort zone, because so many living beings are not comfortable. And if we can get over our grasping, as they call it, our grasping for comfort from time to time, and just consider what other living beings are going through, what it does is it hurts us. First time I was ever given the assignment to come up in front of a class and give an oral report, I was not smart enough to know, do not pick a topic that hurts your heart. You do not want to get up in front of your classmates and reveal your vulnerability, because kids are going for the jugular, they'll just hurt you. And yeah, I didn't have the knowledge to know that in whatever grade, 4th or 5th or 6th, or whatever grade it was. And so my topic for my oral report was about animals that were abandoned. And it hurt my heart that happens. And I spoke about it, and I ended up in tears. I ended up weeping in front of my entire class for the hurting animals in the community that we lived in. And it taught me something didn't cognize it at the time, because we learn slowly, don't we? And, but hopefully by the time we're in our 5th, our 6th, our 7th, our 8th decade, into the 9th decade and beyond, hopefully we've learned to soften rather than to harden when there's something in front of us that hurts our heart for whatever reason. And so Buddhism has been a real friend to me because life hurts us, which isn't bad. And we can make it pretty as possible, and we can be as positive as possible, but life hurts us. And it hurts us so that ultimately we realize we're not the only ones hurting. It's hard to be born. In Tibetan Buddhism, there's amazing stories about what it's like to be in utero. It's a very tight, hot, dense space, and we gotta figure our way out of there. We gotta make our way here. And so they're preparing us constantly for breaking open. Breaking open. There's a term in Tibetan Buddhism called bodhicitta. Bodhicitta. And in 2002, I'm an artist, and I'm an educator, and I'm out in the community a lot. And in 2002, one of the things I was doing in the community was working with a group of badass kids in Portsmouth, Virginia, who had all ended up in the juvie system. And I went once a week to give them art education. They didn't want anybody with them. They just wanted to talk about their war stories. They wanted to show each other where their bullet wounds were, and they wanted to be bad. And one day I made a very, 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 very bad mistake. I took in my art supplies, which I just carry with me wherever I go, and I took in my art supplies and I had them on the table. And as we were closing our session, we were put into lockdown. And it was my fault. And they had to find where 3 X-Acto knives had gone from my art supply kit. 3 X-Acto blades. Knives. Like, not as big as box cutters, but very, very dangerous tools in the hands of those who don't mean well. So they eventually found the X-Acto blades, and I was fired. We had a Buddhist teaching going on shortly after that, and when I attended, in a Buddhist teaching, you're given what's called an empowerment. And so you're given secret, often tantric teachings, and there has to be a lot of preparation, and you have to take a vow, and you have to be willing to recognize that you're being provided with tools that are quite advanced, and it takes a long time to be able to make sense of them. So I was meeting with my teacher, and I told him that I made this mistake with these young people, and that I had so much remorse. How could I do that? How could I make that mistake? And it was a very innocent mistake, because, like I say, everything was going together, and those kids were just cruising through something that could make mischief. Well, my teacher told me at that time something that I wrote down immediately. June 24th, 2002. My Buddhist teacher looked me right in the eye and right in the heart, and he said, bodhicitta is more important than your own life. What the hell? How could somebody say that anything is more important than your own life? But as I've learned and studied, and I'm a student of Buddhism, I don't think you ever get there. There's no there there. They just keep putting out further opportunity for growth, further opportunity to be uncomfortable, and further opportunity to get over yourself. And so when he told me that bodhicitta was more important than my own life, you can be sure I wanted to really get a handle on what is this bodhicitta? What does this word even mean? And it means a lot. It's very complex. It goes on and on. There's so many ways to learn. There's 84,000 teachings in Tibetan Buddhism. I know nothing. So, but I wanted to learn about this thing, bodhicitta. And it has 4 primary qualities, but you can't get there from here. You have to learn other things first. But these 4 qualities are really useful for us to carry forward because they are so in alignment with unity. Loving kindness is the first. To just open our hearts to all living beings. Because it's hard. It's hard to get here. It's hard to be here. We can't see what people are going through. We can't know what animals are going through. So we want to just have loving kindness for every living being. That's a big, tall order, but we offer it to ourselves every day. You know, that can I be curious enough to put some loving kindness on this situation without saying, look at me, without saying, oh, I'm so great, without saying, I got it all together, because we never do, we never will, we never are. But the whole idea of just being willing to put loving kindness on that situation. Right now we've got so many extraordinary opportunities to do that. And it's not a Band-Aid. Loving kindness is not a Band-Aid. Loving kindness is moving from here, where we hold all our feelings. You know how so many of us, and no judgment, but so many of us are distended because we have so many feelings packed away in our gut. And that's okay. That's like a storage locker for feelings. But loving kindness invites us above the diaphragm. You can think of the diaphragm as sort of a midpoint in our physical body, in our nervous system even, where we numb out and we hold things down here until we open them up and we look at what are we so afraid of? Why are we so scared of ourselves, of our life, of each other? It's just being curious. It's not saying that we're going to get the answer just like that. It's just being curious, it's being open, it's just being wondering. Why are they like they are? We don't know what they've been through. Why do they look at us the way that they look at us? Or they don't even look at it. They can't look at us in the eye. Why is that? Well, because something's stuck. Something is stuck down in the orenda, the dantian, the solar plexus, the gut. And so what we want to do, and it's an individual journey, nobody does the journey for anybody else, but we want to bring our energy up to the heart. Loving kindness lives in the heart, and it makes us vulnerable. We don't necessarily want to wear our heart on our sleeve or show our heart to people who would hurt us. It's not safe, but we can still send them loving kindness. In Tibetan Buddhism, the technique is called Tonglen. And in Tonglen, we see somebody or something or situation or circumstance that's difficult. We can just use that word. It's difficult. I can tell that's a hard thing. So I'm just going to send good wishes, very, very much in the realm of unity. I'm just going to send love. I'm just going to send joy thoughts. I'm just going to send beauty. I'm just going to send something useful, good to that situation. In Buddhism, with Tonglen, we're taught to get kind of specific. So maybe you're having a bad day, and I sense that. I don't come in to try to fix you. It's not my job to fix you or anybody, because nobody's broken. Nobody's broken. We all come complete, and we all have the opportunity to find our way back home again. But we need help, and so in Tonglen, we send something specific. It's really cool. If your mom's having a bad day, and you know her favorite flower is tulips, in Tibetan Buddhism, you would imagine that you're sending your mom a bouquet of tulips. In your imagination, from your Christ consciousness, you're sending your mom a bouquet of tulips. That's going to make her feel better. Just the exchange of energy, it's going to make her feel better. And then what you do, and this is the tricky part, this is very, very much Buddhism, you then breathe in, you breathe out the tulips, and then you breathe in whatever the difficulty is that mom's going through. You don't have to know what it is. You can just tell she's off. I grew up with a mom that was pretty much off all the time. And she just really, really had a hard time going through the world. I try to imagine what it would be like to be 6 years of age, as she was, when her mother decided to send her to a fresh air camp in the, I guess, late 20s, early 30s. My mom was sent to a fresh air camp where she was abused and placed into a situation where she felt abandoned. And I don't think she ever got over it. So we're all carrying something. And it's not to judge or fix. It's to just recognize we're all hurting somewhere in these little pockets inside our body. And so we want to bring up loving kindness. The second part of the 4 qualities of bodhicitta is compassion. And look it up. Look it up in the dictionary. Look it up in the thesaurus. Find out what it means to you to have compassion for other living beings. It's just such a beautiful, beautiful turnaround instead of having judgment and compassion. The next in 4 is joy. And here again, Unity is such a great teacher of joy medicine. You just put joy on it. And it's another way to do an exchange of energy. Just send somebody joy. Send a whole group of people joy. It's hard to move through the world. And then finally, the 4th is equanimity. What a great word. I love that word, equanimity. Equanimity means, in Tibetan Buddhism, to be free from attachment and to be free from aversion. And that's another thing to actually just consider. Where are your attachments? Where are my attachments? What are we attached to? What do we have to have to be a certain way in order to be okay for us? If my mom had to be a certain way to be okay for me, it would have been a very different relationship than it was. But somehow she had 5 children who all had tremendous compassion and empathy for her. At the end, there was mental illness, and it just was the culmination of all of the struggles. But the idea is that we just don't know what our journey is going to be like, from the shore of birth to the shore of death. So it's really, really extraordinary that my teacher told me on June 24th, 2002, bodhicitta, and he was very sober. He just looked at me after I told him my sob story from the kids in the delinquent center and how I had messed up. And he didn't buy it at all. He just said, basically, in his own words, he was basically saying, you're gonna get your shit together, girl. Because bodhicitta is way more important than your own life. And right now you're just thinking about your little life and your little mistake and your little problem. But you gotta expand your view. Expand your view. Make it larger. It's not just about you. And I've never forgotten it. And like I said, I wrote it down and it's right there. So I've had Tibetan teachers stay at my home, and it's always quite an amazing and extraordinary coming together of how I normally live, and then what it's like to live in my own home when there is the presence of a Tibetan Lama in my home. It's like, just be you. Wherever you're at, whatever you're up to, just be you. And if you have the awareness of loving kindness, compassion, equanimity, and joy, all will be well. all will be well. So when my teacher was with me, Ken Shetty, he gave me a slip of paper to represent his visit at my home. He gave me this sheet of paper. He didn't give me any kind of housewarming gift or thank you gift or anything. He gave me this sheet of paper. This sheet of paper is kind of like voted cheated in my life. It's kind of like, this sheet of paper is more important than my own life. And in a moment, I'm going to share this with you as my closing meditation and see how it falls for you. Are you content with your content? Is a really wonderful curiosity. Because if I can't own my anger, if I can't own my resentment, if I can't own my confusion, if I can't take responsibility for my judgments, I'm adding to the heaviness. I'm adding to the burden that we all carry through birth school. I'm just making things more dense. Whenever I travel, I'm getting onto the highway, I'm going up the ramp, I say to my companions in the car, or just to myself, as I get onto the freeway and I'm getting into the stream of vehicles, white light all around us, and white light all around everyone around us as we travel. It just comes up, and I am then aware that I don't have to have rage, I don't have to get in front of, I don't have to be angry when somebody's pushing me, I don't have to have all these opinions about everything. I think that that is one of the things that Buddhism has supported me in getting real about, is that I can't pretend that I've got it all together if the person in front of me is angry with me. If the person in front of me is angry with me, and you know it's happening, you know it's going to happen, you just don't know when it's going to happen, that someone's going to be triggered by your presence. It's just life, you know. And when it happens, in Buddhism, again, it's these cool tools. They say whenever you're pointing a finger at someone up there, 3 fingers are pointing back at you. So first, take responsibility for what you're not noticing about yourself. And then when that person is angry at me, I can remember times I've been angry. Oh yeah. I can remind myself of times I've been so confused, I didn't have words, I didn't know what to say, I didn't know what to do, I didn't know how to bridge that gap. And so, are you content with your content is a daily curiosity. Sometimes, yes, I'm content right now. I feel like this part of my system, my nervous system, is doing its job. It's just keeping things quiet. And my sympathetic nervous system, which creates this need to fight or flight, it's calmed down. And I actually am able, I can do this kind of a review very quickly, even with somebody in front of me. I can actually bring myself up into my heart. And I can stay in my heart, even when somebody's shooting arrows at my God. It's training. It's mind training. That's the whole thing about Buddhism. Buddhism is not a religion, unless you want to make it one. Buddhism is, it's a philosophy, if you want to make it that. But primarily, it's a hands-on mind training. And when we train our mind, it changes what comes out of our mouth. And when we change what comes out of our mouth, it changes our mood. And when we change our mood, we shift the atmosphere that we're in. And as Caroline May said in her energy anatomy work from way back in the 80s, She said, it only takes one person. Even in a huge corporate building in New York City, she said, it only takes one GE bulb to change the atmosphere, and you could be the GE bulb. So, are you content with your content? Sometimes yes, sometimes no, no judgment. But what a great curiosity. How am I doing right now? You know, how am I at this moment in time? It's something that we can take into this new year and beyond, because things are going to crank up. Things are not going to tap down. Things are going to ramp up. We're going to see more and more ways in which we can do this. And then that means we have all these many, many ways to do this. Just checking on our own nervous system and see if we're really actually able to be at peace. So, if you would like, you could look at what I'm going to be sharing with you as a meditation. This is the first year in over 20 years that I have not been a speaker at Unity for my traditional 4 talks in each year, 2 in the spring and 2 in the fall. Last year, in September, the COVID virus entered my body, and I won't cry, but it changed everything. It changed my entire life. And I'm just really learning how to be this very different me. And I'm so grateful that I'm able to remember that bodhicitta is way more important in my own life, and that this wonderful gift that Kenshin left me when he last stayed at my home, it's titled Taking Happiness and Suffering Along the Path. In Buddhism 101, we learn, it's the first of the 4 Noble Truths, life is suffering. Life is suffering. It's hard to get here, it's hard to get out of here, and many things come to visit us on the path in between, and yet we can take happiness and suffering along the path as a sacred marriage. So if you'd like to put your feet flat on the floor, it's entirely up to you. If you'd like to close your eyes, it's entirely up to you. If you'd like to straighten your back and really put some focus and some gratitude on your back. How extraordinary. How extraordinary we are that we're upright, that we have a back home. And that our nervous system is constantly flowing from above to below and back again. This is a traditional Buddhist teaching, taking happiness and suffering along the path. Hope. If I am well, I am happy. For I dedicate my well-being to accumulating virtues. May happiness and bliss fill the skies. If I suffer, I am happy. For I take upon myself the suffering of all beings. May samsara's ocean of suffering be emptied. Samsara is a term for experiences. So may my ocean of experiences of suffering be emptied. If I am sick, I'm happy. For I exhaust the bad karma of my many past lives. May all living beings be relieved of pain. If I die, I am happy. For I die into the absolute nature. May the root of rebirth in the cycles of existences be severed. If I live long, I am happy. Through the 2 accumulations called wisdom and skillful means or merit, may both my aims and those of others be spontaneously accomplished. It's an extraordinary teaching, this taking happiness and suffering along the path. And the more we practice checking in on our content, what's going on in us, the more we can come into an awareness of how loving kindness, compassion, equanimity and joy build bridges rather than tearing things down, creating divisions. This is a magnificent place to be. This is a place that we can return to time and time again. And each time we allow ourselves to experience loving kindness, which is metta meditation, it allows us to open our hearts wider. It connects us with our true nature. Every one of us is born to bring our own sense of beauty and creativity into the world, our own sense of do no harm into the world. And teaching like taking happiness and suffering along the path. If I'm well, if I suffer, if I'm sick, if I die, if I live alone, all along, I'm happy. I'm happy. Because I know that my energy, the energy that I'm bringing into any situation, can shape-shift the situation and make it content that we all feel content with. Thank you.
Thank you, Donna. I'd like to play a song that I played before called Christopher's Tree by the Williams.
That was beautiful, Paulette. What was the name of that piece again?
It's called Christopher's Dream.
I'm sorry.
Christopher's Dream.
Beautiful. Donna, very powerful message. Thank you so much. As always, you do a great job. And I like this analogy that you taught me. You know, normally on the highway, I'm a pretty calm driver. But my one thing is when a guy tailgates me. You know, I don't know why, but
Yeah,
that's
it's on the way up here, but I couldn't see that we're there.
Yeah.
On the other side. It's so close.
So, but thank you.
And I was going to eat.
I'll try to, anytime I'm pointing my fingers at street, I'll come back. Anyhow, thank you. So now it's time for our tithes and offerings. And if you would take your tithes and offerings, hold them in your hand or over your heart. I'll read the affirmation. In the infinity of this moment, all is perfect, whole, and complete. We acknowledge the one presence, the one power, expressing through us in Unity Williamsburg Spiritual Center every moment of every day. We open our hearts to the wisdom and intelligence that exists in the universe and in our minds through which all resources and all healing comes. All doubt is relieved as we trust that our needs are being met in this moment. Divine word is unfolded from our highest good now. So it is. Our basket is right there. Anybody would like to place their offerings in there?
I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. We are so blessed. We are so blessed. We are so grateful for all that we have. We are so blessed. We are so blessed. We are so grateful. We are so blessed.
Sweet Spirit, we are grateful for all that is shared with Unity Williamsburg Spiritual Center. Help us to be able to meet here for services and events that we share with our community and beyond. Amen.
So for the first Sunday of the new year, we're having one of our own who's going to be our guest speaker, Reverend Maria Noel. She's a member of our family, and she was ordained as an interfaith minister in 2023. So just look forward to getting off to a good start next Sunday. Also, because next Sunday is the first Sunday of the new month, it's also our Sunday potluck lunch. So please remember to bring your favorite dish next Sunday. On this coming Saturday, Daryl Key will lead the meditation class from 1 to 2. And our chaplain for today will be Amy, and she'll be back in that corner if anybody would like any private prayers. And as always, we say all prayers are held in strict confidence. Does anybody in the congregation have an announcement they'd like to make?
After a thorough review of candidates and congregational feedback and prayerful discernment, the Unity Williamsburg Board voted to extend the offer of a 3-month trial for the part-time spiritual leader to Kanda Lambert. The board worked with Kanda to find a way to meet the immediate needs of our community within our current budget for the position. The position was modified to include Kanda facilitating 3 weeks each month and giving 1 talk per month. We are also working with Kanda to modify the order of service to include Unity-specific content in each Sunday service. Kanda's first official day of the trial period will begin Sunday, January 12th. And during this time, both Kanda and the congregation will have a chance to see if this position is a right fit. At the end of the 3-month trial period, should Kanda wish to continue in the position, the Unity Williamsburg membership will vote on whether to extend the trial to a permanent position as per our bylaws. It's important for our community to understand that this is a part-time, non-administrative position. To respect Kanda's time that she needs to continue in her consulting work, we ask that contact outside of services should be made by calling and leaving a message here at the Unity Williamsburg phone number, and that number can be found on our website and our Facebook site, or by emailing her at kanda@unitywilliamsburg.com. And that is an email address that will be active by next week. She will return messages as soon as she is able, and all business and administrative and building-related issues should be addressed to the Unity Williamsburg Board. And I know that everyone will join me in welcoming her and supporting her in this trial. And thank you for your support of the board while we make this important decision. Thank you.
Well, I think a real thank you ought to go to you and the board as well, because I know you've spent a lot of time on this and gave us a choice of 4 people, and we submitted our comments, and so thank you very much. I know you all put a lot of work and effort into it, so thank you very much. Any other announcements? No? All right. Well, Donna, you make a circle, and we'd like you to be in the middle so we can give you our blessings.
If you want to hold the handout instead of holding hands, it's on page 3. I'll let you do that.
Be in the center. Okay, for Donna, we love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, we behold Christ as you are. Yay. You can come and join us. You can sing. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as Creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. The light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. So be happy with joy.